This is steel slag, the residual material from a smelting furnace. It is dirty, potentially hazardous, and expensive to dispose of. For many years, steel companies simply viewed slag disposal as a cost burden. But in the early 1990s, Texas Industries, a cement manufacturer, discovered that steel slag could be converted into a valuable raw material for cement production. Texas Industries was located literally across the fence from one of its subsidiaries, Chaparral Steel Corporation, and they began to collaborate on reusing byproducts. This eventually led to a patented process called SemStar, now being marketed worldwide. The process reduces energy use by 10 to 15% and reduces carbon dioxide emissions per ton of cement by 10%. For this breakthrough, the company received a U.S. EPA Climate Protection Award and a ClimateWise Award. This is just one example of the benefits of an approach called byproduct synergy. So, what is byproduct synergy? It is a new way of doing business, where all wastes are considered as potentially valuable resources, where one company's trash becomes another company's feedstock. By shifting from a disposal mentality to a reuse mentality, we can eventually eliminate the concept of waste from industrial supply chains. Across the U.S., we have seen some very creative examples of byproduct synergy. Here's one example from Utah.
A modern cement plant is on a much bigger scale, but even ancient Romans knew you can heat up limestone to make cement. Those Romans never imagined using Little Mermaid Huggies for fuel. That's what helps the Devil's Slide cement plant save nearly $1 million a year.
Of our total operating costs, fuel cost is roughly 1/3.
The traditional fuel is coal. Here they add to the fuel mix chunks of rubber tires and chopped up waste plastic. Much of the waste is from Kimberly-Clark's Huggies factory, leftover chunks of disposable diapers. They dump the waste into burners that preheat limestone to about 2,000 degrees. It reduces coal consumption by 30%.
We also are conserving a natural resource, and we're also keeping a lot of materials out of landfills that would normally just go there.
People asking you if you burn poopy diapers?
Yeah, we have had that question raised. They're all pre-consumer.
A consortium called the U.S. Business Council for Sustainable Development coined the term byproduct synergy. The Business Council has developed a proven, repeatable process for discovering and implementing synergies among groups of companies. These groups are called byproduct synergy networks. In a nutshell, the goal of these networks is to match undervalued byproduct streams with potential users. Participating companies are exposed to each other's production systems, input needs, and waste streams. Through a facilitated process of collaboration, they identify innovative ways to streamline their operations, avoid pollution, save energy, and reduce material costs.
How do we make the most out of what we've got and move from a waste-oriented society to a 100% product society?
Byproduct synergy is being adopted worldwide and producing some remarkable benefits. One example is the case of Texon International in the United Kingdom. Instead of their polymer waste being sent to landfills, it is now being used by another company called Polymer Industries. This synergy reprocesses 1,000 tons of waste per year, saving more than 50,000 British pounds. It also benefits the environment, avoiding over 2,300 tons of CO2 emissions by recycling polymer and over 3,600 tons of CO2 emissions by eliminating trips to landfills. This synergy is just one of hundreds that have been developed under the National Industrial Symbiosis Program in the United Kingdom. Over a 2-year period, 8,000 companies have joined the program and diverted millions of tons of industrial waste from landfill, saved millions of tons of potable water, created or safeguarded hundreds of jobs, reduced carbon emissions, and generated millions of pounds in cost savings and new revenues. Byproduct synergy sounds like an easy win. However, companies that begin to adopt byproduct synergy practices can run into a number of barriers. One of the most common barriers is the technical challenge of acquiring new technology and learning new skills. Sometimes companies will need to make initial capital investments to get started. It is also important for companies to consider regulatory constraints when they change how wastes are managed. And of course, there are also cultural barriers like the tendency to resist innovation and cling to business as usual. To overcome these barriers, it is valuable to have the support and encouragement of regulatory organizations, including federal agencies such as the U.S. EPA, as well as state and local agencies. For example, the Ohio EPA has a program in compliance, assistance, and pollution prevention, which not only provides information and resources to help businesses achieve compliance with regulations, but also helps them to identify opportunities for improving business performance while benefiting the environment. One of the most remarkable success stories in byproduct synergy is a network in the Chicago area that has grown to include about 100 companies. Through their combined efforts, they have been able to divert 22,000 tons of waste per year from landfills to be used as feedstocks, and they have reduced CO2 emissions by about 45,000 tons. These practices represent annual savings of about $4.5 million. Among the many companies involved are Sherwin-Williams, Abbott Laboratories, Kraft Foods, and Smurfit Stone. In the state of Ohio, there are a number of companies that are practicing byproduct synergy. For example, Owens Corning, a world leader in building materials, has made waste recovery a cornerstone of its business strategy.
The use of recycled materials is very important to our business strategy. We are the largest consumer, one of the largest consumers of recycled glass in the world, and it's very important for the energy intensity of our products because we use that glass in our furnace operations to make our fiberglass insulation. And the amount of recycled content that we use today reduces our energy intensity by about 13%. And for our entire business, every percent reduction in energy intensity drives about $5 million to the bottom line. We work with our suppliers to go through a number of processes to clean that glass, separate it, take out contaminants like ceramics that aren't actually glass and don't work in our operations, to ultimately producing something that looks like this, which is a raw material for our operations. Yeah, we use a lot of recycled glass in our insulation products, and just to give you a benchmark, if you look at the amount of glass that it takes to make fiberglass insulation, this is one beverage bottle, and that one beverage bottle, when melted, produces this much insulation. What we found in driving up the recycled content of our products is that it's very important to our customers who use these products, the recycled content. It's also very economical for our operations, both from a raw material purchase side and in the example of glass for the energy that it takes to make our products. So what we found is this is certainly good for the environment, it's good for our business, it's good for our customers, and so all around it's a great business strategy.
Another Ohio-based example of byproduct synergy is the partnership between American Electric Power, one of the nation's largest electric utilities, and Certainteed, a wallboard manufacturer.
AEP is making a lot of effort to use the byproducts that it produces in the generation process. And by selling the gypsum, in this case to Certainteed, we save on putting about 1 million tons of wet FGD material in a landfill. Landfills have operating costs, they have monitoring costs over the years, they have to be capped, there's a lot involved with that. So when you have a landfill, you have a fixed cost of making the landfill, you have maintenance costs. Whereas if you can take this material and manage its purity and sell it to be put in a commercially viable product that we use every day. I mean, it's right in this room as we speak. There's gypsum wallboard in this room. It's in your house, it's in the stores, it's everywhere. If you can do that, you have avoided disposal cost and you have revenue.
One way to get a better understanding of byproduct synergy opportunities is to use computer models. The Center for Resilience at The Ohio State University has developed a decision support model called EcoFlow that enables design and configuration of material flow networks. It can help companies to maximize profitability and minimize environmental impacts such as greenhouse gas emissions. For example, EcoFlow was applied to a byproduct synergy network in Kansas City and identified opportunities for cost savings totaling about $15 million. The Center for Resilience is working with the U.S. Business Council and other government and industry partners to use EcoFlow for quantifying byproduct synergy benefits. Byproduct synergy cannot be accomplished overnight. It is a process that requires commitment, patience, and learning new practices. But in the long run, the benefits will far outweigh the time and cost invested in making it happen. For more information about taking advantage of byproduct synergy in your business, contact the Ohio EPA, the U.S. Business Council for Sustainable Development, or the Center for Resilience. Turn waste into profit.